Before you attempt to do color correction, you need a little background in color theory. So I'm going to give you the short tour and familiarize you with a bit of the color terminology when it comes to computers and printing. So to start, RGB, which stands for red, green, and blue, is the color space of all monitors. So your television set, your computer screen, your iPad, most smartphones, your digital camera, and scanners. RGB is known as the additive color model. It projects light at your eyes. There is no black component in RGB. Black is the absence of light. And a little way to see what's happening when you mix red, green, and blue together is with a Photoshop blending mode. If I go to my Layers panel, I've got a little folder called Colors, and in Colors is blue, green, and red. I clicked on blue, and I'm going to hold down Shift and click on red. And you'll see the word Normal in Layers. If I choose the blending mode of Difference towards the very bottom, it will show me the opposite of the respective color model. So we can see our cyan, magenta, and yellow. And this may have a slight hue to it and may not look like pure white on your monitor or in this video, but with all colors on, you produce white light. Newton proved that when he took the prism and split it into the visible spectrum. And to start talking nerdy for a moment, the colors of the visible spectrum are Roy G. Biv: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So the visible spectrum is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and it goes from 400 to 700 nanometers. So if you want to impress your friends, you can quote some of those useless facts. Ultimately, we can see colors in the visible spectrum on our monitor, and we can print in the visible spectrum on our output devices. But the colors we see on our monitor are almost never the same as the colors on our output devices, our color inkjets, our color lasers, or printing presses. If I look at the print color space, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. C, M, Y, and K is black. There's a few acceptable reasons that K is called black. One is B is already taken for blue. The second is, in the print world, the K was the key plate. It had the structure of the job. It had the text. So they might do foreign language versions that had text in Spanish or French and English. So all the CMY, cyan, magenta, and yellow, could often be the same, but the key to the job was the black plate or where the text was. In the print world, white is the absence of ink or the color of your paper, and your paper may not be white. All inks on all of the cyan, magenta, and yellow in a perfect world would produce a pure black. However, our ink sets or ink cartridges or inks on our presses are not perfect. They contain contaminants. Cyan contains a little magenta and yellow, magenta contains a little yellow, and so on. So what we really get when we mix cyan, magenta, and yellow is a muddy brown. And I already have a blending mode on this, so you could see a bit of that brown where the colors intersect. And then we also get our opposite color space, our RGB, where magenta and cyan intersect, we get our blue. Where magenta and yellow intersect, we get our red. And where blue and yellow intersect, we get green. We add black on the printing press because black is cheaper if you're running text to print in one color, and black gives us more contrast and more depth on a printing press. In fact, they often take black and mix it in with undercolors. Undercolors meaning cyan, yellow, and magenta under the black, so you get more depth or sheen in advertising. So it's not just a straight black. There is magenta and yellow and cyan in there to make it look richer and deeper. CMYK is known as subtractive color, When I first learned that, I remembered light is being reflected from the paper, then going to my eye. In RGB, it's additive color, and I always remember light is being projected at my eye, so your monitor may be much richer, brighter, and more vibrant than your printout, because we can do over 16 million colors on our monitor, but depending on your device, your print color space may give you far fewer colors than your monitor. So please don't expect that if it looks beautiful and rich and vibrant on your screen, that it will always print that way. Your print result will vary greatly depending on the device, depending on the type of ink, and depending on the printing conditions if you're going to a printing press. Now here's the proof in that pudding. Is that enough peas for you? If I go to the CMYK RGB model that I've built, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, red, green, blue, and white, and I were to choose to put that in not the red, green, and blue viewing space of my monitor, but already convert it to the print color space, I could choose Image, Mode, CMYK. I'm preparing it for the printing press. It's going to say, do you want to take all the layers in this document and flatten them into one? I don't want to flatten these. I want to preserve my layers. And it's saying, you're about to convert this. Is this color profile okay? I'm going to say yes, it is. US Web Coded is for a web press as opposed to a sheet-fed press. I'll click OK. Did you notice that shift? CMYK stayed pretty consistent. But if I undo, my red got a little, not as bright. My green got very dull, and my blue may switch towards purple or lean towards the purple color. Edit, redo. There, I'm going to hit the shortcut. Undo, redo. Control-Z, Control-Z, or Command-Z, Command-Z. This is why so many people get sadly disappointed when they expect their gorgeous bright colors on their screen to look as gorgeous and bright when printed. And Photoshop gives you a more real-world expectation of it if you look at it in CMYK. And you don't even need to go straight to CMYK. You can actually view it that way without committing to it. But I use this to let you know how far your color can change when it leaves your screen or when it's printed. Lastly, we'll try it again with the rainbow to see the whole visible spectrum of colors and what may shift. So Image, Mode, CMYK. Don't flatten. Click OK to the default color space. And this didn't look as bad. I could see it's in CMYK, but I have more tones and shades in between. So if I hit the shortcut to undo and redo, it almost looks like the rainbow shifted position, but it's really just compressing into color space. And when I do the undo and redo, you can see the breaks between the colors get more dull. And my blues in RGB aren't quite as vibrant in CMYK. So I know this is a lot of information if you've never done color correction or never had an explanation of monitor color RGB versus print color CMYK, but just let it all marinate. Come back tomorrow or next week while it's still kind of fresh, listen to the video again and see if it starts to make sense what's happening when it's going from RGB, the additive color space, to CMYK, the subtractive color space for print. Good luck and happy color correcting.